Welcome to Nasdaq TradeTalks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. We're coming to you live from Exchange 2024 in Miami, and joining me for this segment we have Baiocchi, Chief ETF Strategist at SS&C ALPS Advisors. We're here to discuss the case for active REIT strategies. It's great to see you as always, Paul. Welcome back to TradeTalks.
Good to see you.
How's the real estate sector looking heading into 2024?
So we think it sets up really nice because of some of the dynamics economically that typically benefit REITs. So you think about a passive REIT strategy, say XLRE. A lot of the publicly traded REITs in the index are actually tower REITs and data center REITs, industrial REITs, not really office and industrial. So sort of setting aside the office space where a lot of people see those empty buildings and they think, I don't want to be anywhere near that stuff because of the debt-mageddon and the refinancing activity is going to impact that space. Going into 2024, we're sort of at the end or near the end of the Fed's rate hiking cycle. Historically, that's been a really good place for REITs in terms of relative performance on a 3, 6, or 12-month basis. So we saw REITs as a sector of the S&P 500 as the best performer in the fourth quarter. So some of those returns might have been moved ahead into the fourth quarter, but broadly speaking, it's a sector where you've got a lot of negative headlines, especially as it relates to the private sector, but in the public space, there's a lot of tailwinds potentially.
So what are some of the areas within REITs that look particularly interesting?
I mentioned data centers, and we hear a lot about AI, and AI drove so much of tech's outperformance in 2023, has driven a lot of it so far in 2024, and a lot of people think AI and they think Magnificent Seven, they think about the direct beneficiaries in terms of technology companies, but those data centers that supply the cloud computing infrastructure and all of the infrastructure that's needed to support AI and generative AI build-outs are going to benefit. So the companies that own those data centers, those REITs in that segment of the sector, are facing massive backlogs, have tremendous demand for their properties, and are set up well to play on this really secular trend.
So what's the case for a REIT as an active strategy in this sector specifically?
Well, certainly when you think about a passive strategy in public REITs, there are still companies that are overvalued, that don't necessarily have as much fundamental attractiveness. And so taking a team like the GSI team, which runs REIT, and leveraging their research, leveraging their valuation work, and picking and choosing high conviction names based on sectors, industries, and relative valuations can and has, at least over the 3 years or so that the product has been on the market, generated strong relative performance.
Which is so interesting because it launched kind of when we were in the thick of COVID, and there was a lot of variables there, right? So now that we're in the post-COVID environment, how has the strategy done since launching?
It's done really well on a relative basis to its passive peers and to other actively managed strategies in the category, and I think it's a product of what you laid out. We're 3 years in. They've streamlined some of their processes in terms of portfolio management. We went from a semi-transparent to a fully transparent wrapper. That's opened the door to more investors. But also, you do go back 3 years to when we were talking about the strategy. A lot of the topic was work from home, hybrid work.
Right.
How's that going to impact real estate? And the reality is that most people think real estate and they think offices, but there's so much more to the sector. And a team that has expertise, 30 plus years managing real estate, doing research on real estate, can add real value.
All right, Paul, appreciate the insight as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me from Exchange. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.